Hello, I'm Joachim Duplessis. Welcome to the HTS Epoll. It's your opportunity to weigh in on the most pressing issues of the day. The Witness Protection Bill in St. Lucia aims to provide a safer environment for witnesses to testify against criminals. Proponents argue that this legislation would encourage more people to come forward and testify, leading to increased convictions and reduced crime rates. On the other hand, critics raise concerns about the program's effectiveness, citing potential challenges in maintaining witness anonymity and security. Additionally, some worry about the financial burden of implementing and maintaining such a program. Despite these concerns, many believe that a well-structured witness protection program could be a game changer in St. Lucia's crime fight. However, others argue that the program's success would depend on various factors, including adequate funding and effective implementation. The effectiveness of the Witness Protection Bill remains a topic of debate. So we asked, do you think the Witness Protection Bill, if passed, would be effective in reducing crime in St. Lucia? We took to the streets to get your opinion, and here's what you had to say.
It will be a very beneficial bill for the people of the country, and it will also help curb the crime rate we're having right now in St. Lucia. Oftentimes people are scared to come out and give evidence, and if it's structured properly, it will be a very beneficial tool.
It would allow people to have a little bit more confidence to be able to come forward, especially with people who have seen crimes being committed. And but I also think that there's a con aspect to it in terms of the financial aspect of it, because placing people in witness protection also means that you have to displace them, remove them from their location and provide housing for them. And I think that is definitely a bill that the government of St. Lucia would have to also consider, because there's the financial aspect of it as well, and make sure that it's structured properly in a way that it can build confidence and people can trust the system, because as we know, this is a very small country, and generally speaking, there's a problem with the dissemination of information, especially when it comes to government information. It's people speak too much.
I'm interested to note that there is such legislation that is in process. However, I think that in our small society, there are quite a number of programs and approaches that are necessary for us to deal with the surging crime and the gun violence we've been experiencing of late. Definitely, you can understand why we would want to implement a program such as a witness protection program. But we are a very, very small society. So what would occur to me, what are the mechanics of that program? How is it in such a small society where we don't have, let's say, a large continent like the US to relocate witnesses? Are we looking at perhaps, regional level, cooperation with nearby islands in the region where potentially somebody who has been witness to a major crime can be relocated? There are a lot of existing framework programs that we can use alongside other islands in the region to cooperate in a way that we can curb our current crime surge.
I think if it is done and structured, it is a very good thing for people. But for what I've experienced in my country, I do not think that we have the capacity and the character to have these things work effectively. So protection for persons who have witnessed things, it's a very good thing. But to see it come to fruition, this is where I am very doubtful that it can work effectively. But it's a good initiative if come to pass as planned.
It is something that is necessary. It is timely, although it has not been passed yet, but that is the right step. That is a good step in the right direction. You need this kind of laws to protect people so that people can feel protected, so that they can afford to provide information based on incidents that happen.
I believe absolutely it can be successful, but it is also it will provide a safer platform for persons to come forward, especially with the crime situation that we have had for so long now. That I know we are working really hard to curb the crime situation, but there are persons that may want to come forward, but because of the code of confidentiality, it is not there. I mean, in the 238 squares, it is difficult. Our persons, but this is something that you cannot really teach someone. They have to have that within them. You have to know your job. If your job is the police, the judiciary, and security, and so on, you have to be confidential. It is necessary. It is a very good tool. And I think it is something that needs to happen as quickly as possible.
I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. If everything goes well, structured properly, it should be the law of the land.
Things, while I would support that 100%, but it is only if they will be clean with it. That's the only way I can support it, because a lot of the people are not serious. They cannot keep a secret, and the very one you think that would hold a secret is the one filtering it out.
Now to our new discussion. The Praedial Larceny Act imposes fines of up to $10,000 and imprisonment of up to 2 years for offenders. Proponents argue that these measures deter would-be thieves and protect the agricultural sector. Critics, however, point out that the effectiveness of these measures depends on adequate enforcement and public awareness. Some also argue that the penalties may not be severe enough to serve as a strong deterrent. Despite these challenges, many believe that the efforts to address praedial larceny are a step in the right direction. The Praedial Larceny Unit has been working tirelessly to educate the public and enforce the Act, but the question remains whether these efforts are yielding the desired results. The success of these initiatives remain a topic of debate among stakeholders. So we ask, do you think the efforts to address praedial larceny on the island are working? Remember, our Epoll team is always on the go to get your responses as well. Watch the HTS News Force from 7 p.m. for the results and a new discussion.